Edison format is notorious for allowing a wide variety of decks to shine. Even decks that look like absolute hogwater on paper are able to pop off given the right scenarios and sneak in wins against the more competent meta strategies. In this series, I will profile and match up the jankiest decks imaginable against the meta decks of the time and see if they really can be the best of the worst.
Hey guys, so I know many of you may be aware of the Assault Mode series of monsters, and how they are, well, less than perfect. Summoning a monster from the deck by tributing a specific synchro monster on field is not really the best game plan, especially when that monster you're summoning is not the best in the first place. However, some of the Assault Mode bosses are fairly good, like the Stardust Dragon version. Some are okay, like the Assault Mode Colossal Fighter, and some are just kinda bad, like Assault Mode Arcanite Magician. However, the ease of access for this Assault Mode monster makes this deck sort of playable, not to mention the fact that there's actually a support card for this Assault Mode version in Arcane Apprentice, which adds Assault Mode Activate directly to your hand when used for a Synchro Summon. That, and the addition of a few level 5 spellcasters that special summon themselves, makes a semi-competent deck that definitely is able to make Arcanite Magician like no one's business. Now, if that's actually good remains to be seen. Let's jump into the profile and then the replays to find out. First we have the aforementioned Arcane Apprentice, just like a level 2 tuner that adds Assault Mode Activate, nothing much to say there. Then we have 2 of the Assault Mode version of Arcanite Magician. This card isn't really that good because you're usually summoning it on your opponent's turn and can't do anything on their turn anyway, but it is able to destroy all cards your opponent controls. But this effect really is kind of like telegraphed and doesn't often go off. But it's also able to resurrect Arcanite Magician from the graveyard, but keep in mind it won't get its spell counters back because it was special summoned, not synchro summoned. These are also hard bricks when you draw them. Then we have 2 Breaker, which is good a monster to summon when Arcanite is out of spell counters and you need an extra pop, or just as a 1900 beater or back row removal. Then we have 2 more tuners, Deep Sea Diva and Krebons. These guys are just good level 2 tuners that can either help make different synchros or stall out games with the attack protection ability of Krebons. 3 Magical Exemplar are good, but I actually have 2 in this deck, and the third in the side, because they're good for spell counters to feed Arcanite Magician and a monster reborn for the Arcane Apprentices or Knight's End Sorcerer, which can banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. A good trait to have when going up against Vayu Turbo or zombies, for instance. Oracle of the Sun is a level 5 spellcaster that can be special summoned when your opponent controls a monster and you don't. And the Tricky just acts as a special summon off of a discard. Then we also have Plague Spreader Zombie as another level 2 tuner that can be sent off of Foolish Burial, and Sangan to find basically any of the tuners of the deck. As for spells, we have Mindcon, Cold Wave, Emergency Teleport for Krebons, Foolish Burial, Giant Trunade, Heavy Storm, 3 Instant Fusion, which allows you to summon the level 5 Musician King, which is somehow a spellcaster. Then 1 Magical City of Endymion, which does a lot of spell counter related things. MST, Assault Mode, 3 Assault Mode Activate. The good thing about this card is that it can allow you to dodge almost any type of removal and summon forth your Assault Mode card, which can be good in a pinch. And then we have 1 Mirror Force and 1 Torrential. For the side we have Gores, 2 Honest for catching your opponent off guard with a spent Arcanite Magician, 3 Mystic Tomatoes to summon Krebons or Knight's End Sorcerer or even Sangan or Plague Spreader Zombie, another Knight's End, another Magical Citadel of Endymion, 3 Noblemen of Crossout for decks like that have Raikou or Super Mega Nimble Hamster, whatever it's called. Then we have 2 Bottomless and 1 Trap Dust Shoot. Then for the extra, we have 3 Musician King. For the instant fusions, Cataster, Magical Android as our 5s, Brionac and Goyo, and Tempest as our 6s. Black Rose and Arbellum as 7s, and Stardust and Thought Rule our Fiends as our 8. Alright, let's see how this bricky deck functions. So I do win the rock, paper, scissors, and choose to go first, and open well, this hand is pretty bad. We only have access to level 2 tuners, so I just summon Krebons and pass. My opponent opens up with Convert Contact, so it looks like we're going up against some sort of Neospatian deck. He pitches Scarab and Grand Mole and draws 2, before summoning Aqua Dolphin and activating the effect. Luckily, all the cards in my hand have more than attack equal to Aqua Dolphin, so yeah, it takes 5 and passes over to me. I draw Arcane Apprentice, which is fine, I guess, but I'm able to summon another Krebons and attack over the Dolphin and get 1200 direct in. On his turn, he's able to make the Quick Draw Dandy combo, with that summoning Drill Warrior, which is pretty bad for this deck. Arcanite is not able to deal with that card very easily, and I only have like 2 traps to get rid of it. He attacks directly with Drill Warrior's effect and banishes it, discarding a Convert Contact. Then he goes for a Debris Dragon play to summon back Dandy, and Synchro summons into Stardust. I've got my work cut out for me. On my turn, I'm able to Synchro summon using Breaker and one of the Krebons to make Goyo Guardian and get of his Stardust, but I know his Drill Warrior is coming back next turn with any card from his graveyard. So on his turn, he gets back Mole with his Drill Warrior and then Space Gifts, which is an interesting card to have in your deck, before activating 2 Terraforming to get a Gadgetron Dragon back to the field by destroying the one he sets and activating its effect. And then he attacks over my Goyo with his Gadgetron and returns the Stardust back to his extra deck using the effect of his Grand Mole. Again, he banishes his Drill Warrior, and on my turn I draw Tricky, which is really good, except I have to deal with Drill Warrior again next turn. So I summon the Tricky and Arcane Apprentice to Synchro into Arcanite Magician. I use one of the counters on Arcanite to take care of the Gadgetron Dragon before destroying the last token and attacking indirectly. My opponent brings back Drill Warrior and adds back Debris Dragon. He then just goes to battle, forcing out my Assault Mode activate to summon Arcanite Magician Assault Mode. After a little bit of reading, because he's probably never seen this card before, and rightfully so, he banishes his Drill Warrior and makes Black Rose Dragon with Debris Dragon and Dandy. This also destroys his Gear Town, allowing him to summon another Gadgetron Dragon. But I am able to summon Arcanite with Assault Mode. However much good that will do me. For my turn, well, there really isn't anything I can do, so I pass. My opponent gets back his Debris Dragon and summons Ancient Fairy Dragon to special summon Elemental Hero Stratos from his hand, forgetting you can't conduct your battle phase the turn you activate that effect. This spares me 1 turn, but at this point nothing can really get me out of this. I try to do something on my turn by Mind Cunning his Stratos and using the spell counter on Magical City of Endymion to destroy his Gadgetron Dragon, but on his next turn he summons back Drill Warrior, gets back Prisma, and pops my Magical City of Endymion with his Ancient Fairy Dragon, and after seeing his Card Trooper, I just surrender. It's okay. If there's really one good thing about Arcanite Magician, it's that well, there aren't many good things, but at least it refuses to die. So, for game 2, this hand, this hand isn't the best. We drew Spine Gilman, but I am able to set Mystic Tomato, hey, that's my name, and I pass. My opponent sets Gear Town and summons Dark Panther, oof, he really bricked, and attacks. The power of the tomato stops him, however. He then terraformings and adds another Gear Town for next turn. Knowing this, I just summon Spine Gilman and attack in with both of my monsters. My opponent immediately then, on his next turn, goes for Gear Town and summons Gadgetron before attacking over my Gilman and setting another background. I'm okay playing the long game here, so I just set another tomato and pass. My opponent summons Air Hummingbird and gains 2,500 life points, which is annoying, but oh well. He then activates another Gear Town to summon another Gadgetron and attacks my set, and I'm able to summon Sangan off of it. Now I'm finally ready to combo off. For turn I draw E-Telly, which is honestly the best draw in this scenario, and I activate it and summon Krebons, but he Phoenix Wing Blasts my Krebons on resolution. I'm more than happy for this because now one of his back row is gone. I summon Knight's End Sorcerer and Synchro for Catastor, getting my Sangan Search and picking up Arcane Apprentice. I then attack into one of the Gadgetron Dragons and then the Air Hummingbird. My opponent draws Stratus for turn and summons it, adding Prisma to hand, before attacking into my tomato with Gadgetron, allowing me to summon a Krebons field. I negate the attack from Stratos and draw for my next turn Exemplar, which then I special summon the Tricky from my hand, discarding Oracle of the Sun. I then attack into the Gadgetron Dragon and then the Stratos before attacking direct with Krebons. And then, during my main phase 2, I'm able to summon Arcane Apprentice and Synchro Summon for Arcanite before getting my Assault Mode Activate Search, and then popping his back row, which turns out to be Dust Tornado. My opponent draws Future Fusion, declaring Absolute Zero, but that thing is getting popped by my Arcanite next turn. He attacks with Prisma into my Krebons and I negate. Then, on my next turn, I'm able to draw Deep Sea Diva and pop the Future Fusion before activating Assault Mode Activate and summoning Assault Mode Activate Arcanite Magician. At this point, my opponent concedes. Alright, so we just need to win one more game. So game 3, my opponent's able to go first, which isn't the best for me, but that's fine. He opens up with Aqua Dolphin, anyone getting Deja Vu, and again isn't able to discard a card in my hand, but is able to get 2 tokens from Dandy that he discarded. He then activates Foolish Burial and sends Treeborn Frog. On my turn, I summon Mystic Tomato and attack Dolphin on his field and set Torrential Tribute. And I think my opponent forgets to summon Treeborn Frog, or just doesn't want to this entire game, because he just never does it. So I don't know what happened. On his turn, he summons Debris Dragon and brings back Dandy to summon Stardust Dragon before getting 2 more tokens and getting a Gear Town with his Terraforming. For my turn, I'm able to summon Arcane Apprentice and summon Goyo Guardian to deal with Stardust. Because my opponent yet again activated Terraforming to get Gear Town, I again know he has follow-up, so I don't go for a more invested play. There really isn't a point to activating Terraforming the turn before you're going to use it. On his turn, as expected, he sets Gear Town and destroys it to summon Gadgetron Dragon. I could have Torrential Tributed here, but I decided against it in case he has a normal summon to follow up, which he turns out to have in the form of Elemental Hero Stratos. I activate Torrential Tribute and the whole board is nuked. And I start my turn and draw Instant Fusion, a great card for this situation. I summon Krebons and attack in before setting Mirror Force. He summons Prisma and dumps Neos from his deck, interesting card to have, before attacking into Krebons, which I negate again. For my turn, I summon Knight's End Sorcerer and Instant Fuse for Arcanite Magician to pop his Prisma and then attack indirect with both before setting Assault Mode activates. On his turn, he's able to summon Grand Maul, probably the best counter for Arcanite Magician. I probably should have saved my Assault Mode activate here, but at least getting one Assault Mode out of my deck is good, just as not a brick to summon, or to draw. But on my turn, I'm able to summon Mystic Tomato, but he's threatening Roars, so I end. At this point, the game is pretty much over. As you can see, he only has 2 or 3 cards in hand. And he's able to stall out a lot with his Neospacians, with Air Hummingbird gaining more life points, and his Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. But eventually, since I have 4 cards in hand, I'm just able to wear him down and get him to a point where he cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. So he just sets the Dimensional Prison and I'm able to win. So that's it. This deck sometimes is very explosive, especially if your opponent has a lot of battle phase back row and large monsters vulnerable to removal. But over the course of playing it, I've learned that the best way to play it is conservatively, because you often have to go negative in card advantage to make your plays, and it's best to wear down your opponent and then summon Arcanite when they least expect it to pop any battle traps they might have. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this profile, and I hope you try this wonky deck. Have a good day, and thank you for watching.